How's it going, everybody? So, a couple follow-up things. Of course, Jurassic World was going to be #1 at the box office, obviously. Then, let's get right into it. Luke Cage. Luke Cage Season 2 is better than Season 1. Because Season 1 was not a 10 out of 10, it wasn't a 9 out of 10, it was probably a 7 out of 10. This season is an 8 or 9 out of 10. It's not perfect. And I'll get into reasons why, but I'm going to give you guys 3 or 4 minutes of no spoilers. So, this season, Reggie Cathy plays Luke Cage's father, and Reggie Cathy, anything you put him in is awesome, and he will be missed. I don't know if this was the last thing that he did, but at the end of the show, there is an in memoriam to him. He passed away, I believe last year, or maybe this year. I'm not too familiar. I know that he's passed away. All the characters are good. Shades and Mariah are back as the villains in this series. The cameos are pretty good. Like, I'm not going to spoil the cameos right now. I still got a minute and a half of no spoilers. But there are good cameos that you're going to want to check out. Then the villain that they've been advertising is a man called Bushmaster. Bushmaster is worth the price of admission. If you guys are on the fence about whether or not Marvel does good villains, check out Bushmaster. And I'll say this, for the purposes of Season 2, Mariah and Shades get way more personality. There are actual plots involving those two that develop their characters, and you know them better at the end of the show than you did before. Much better than what they did in Season 1. So, Luke Cage Season 2, I'm going to say right now, 9 out of 10. Go watch it. It's worth it. It's cool. The soundtrack is awesome. And I'm going to start spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2. Better turn it off now before you don't want it spoiled. 1. Okay. Luke Cage ends up being the bad guy for Season 3. And what I mean by that is he's in a morally gray situation that they kind of dump on you in the last episode. Episodes 1 through 12, happy ending. Episode 13, you don't know what's going to happen. So, Bushmaster is a slow build-up. This season could be Bushmaster Season 1 in terms of his narrative. The narrative that they built for Bushmaster is that he's coming after the Stokes for the things that they did to his family. The Stokes' grandmother, Mabel, which I was trying to figure out the timeline on this, because the Stokes' grandmother apparently raised Cottonmouth and raised Mariah, along with Uncle Pete or whatever, which I don't know was her son. I need to see a timeline of things going on, but apparently the grandfathers were partners in the Prohibition days, and the grandchildren were involved, and so I don't know. I don't know what happened to Bushmaster's father, but we see that Bushmaster's mother was killed by a fire set by the Stokes family, and then years later, the same one of the Stokeses comes to finish him off and puts 2 in his stomach. and what saves him is his uncle going to a healer and using Nightshade, grown in Jamaica. It doesn't heal him, but it strengthens him up so that it pushes the bullets out of his system. So Bushmaster kicks Luke Cage's ass about 2 or 3 times in this show, and that makes Luke Cage more interesting to me, because last season it's like, oh, we're gonna shoot him again and again and again, and then they're gonna have a magic bullet that pierces his skin, and episode 1 or episode 2, whatever it was, fix that. They had the same, they left it open-ended, like they said it was faulty, so they had a Judas bullet shoot Luke Cage, and apparently it bounced off him. So either he got stronger or that was a faulty bullet. They don't confirm whether or not he got better, but they were like, nope, that ain't gonna work. So Luke Cage has got his head up his ass in the beginning of the show, because he feels justified in how he's handling business. But Claire's like, you're getting too angry, you're getting too controlling, you're starting to show dark side signs. And Luke gets angry and punches a wall, and he feels bad about it, but that essentially ends his relationship with Claire for the season. So Luke is like a little bit, like he's still harboring anger with his father, and it takes about 6 or 7 episodes to hash that out. But Reggie Cathy is an amazing actor, and he just, knowing that he can't do anything to his son, he still carries the personality, the authority of just being able to take his son to school on moral issues, because he is a preacher or a reverend. So he's awesome in this series. With the things though going on, Luke Cage is a player. He's not on one side or the other. And Bushmaster is coming after the Stokes, and he's coming after them from every angle. He's trying to get their club. He's trying to ruin their reputation, and he succeeds for the most part. I mean, he uses scare tactics, and there was a consistent driving question, or not question, but a moral statement that the series was trying to make, which was look forward, not backward, and fix the future. Don't worry about making amends for the past, because throughout the entire show, everyone is saying look towards the future, don't look towards the past. And it was how Claire was saying, I know a lawyer in season 1. Everyone saying look towards the future and don't look towards the past was kind of like the Claire, I know a lawyer this season. So I don't hate it for trying to spread that message, but at the same time, everyone was trying to convey that message. And I think the best supporting actor role, if not Reggie Cathy, should go to the uncle to Bushmaster, because the man was just wary of his nephew's desire for revenge, and he was critical of him. He was, and to Bushmaster wasn't just a simple villain. He was actually a character. One of my favorite lines in this entire series was, so you think you're faster than Usain Bolt? And like there was a couple of running gags of when Luke Cage gets his ass kicked on camera, everyone says, "Man, he kicked your ass again, huh?" Like that, I just love that. And the cinematography is great. I mean, the score is awesome. I mean, like, if you're a music fan, there's you can listen to this show on like just put it on in the background and just wait for the songs to come on, because they are that awesome. All right, this season though felt like an ensemble cast more so than like Luke Cage versus the World, where you had Misty, like her arc was coming to grips with like her new the first part of the season, she's working on becoming a cop again, even though she in the Defenders had her arm chopped off. So she's trying to get her self-respect, get her this, get her that, and then when in the middle of the season, she becomes disenfranchised, and she becomes aware of the limitations of being a cop, but things happen where people around her die, and in that moment she resolves herself to uphold the law, and that's gonna she didn't become Daughter of the Dragon Misty Knight, where she's like a bail bondsman or whatever. She became detective or something. I don't know, maybe she was a captain or whatever, but she was in charge of her precinct at the end of it, and her precinct is Harlem, and Luke Cage is I'm going to get to this in a few minutes, I'm getting there, is going to be a bad guy in season 3. So the grand drama of this season is Mariah and Shades. Mariah is trying to go legit, and Bushmaster wants to take her out. Shades wants to stay a gangster and not go completely legit. He wants to ease into things. So Shades has Comanche, who we saw in season 1, who is that's his brother basically. They were close in prison, close in life. They were as close can be. Now Mariah in this one has Tilda. Tilda is her daughter that we learn about, and I want to say that the writers of the show knew this was coming, because I didn't look into it, but there was an episode in last season where they were dealing with Uncle Pete, who is I think they mentioned that he was on a business trip to the Caribbean or the islands or something, and he was taking care of some business. I think I remember that, so I gotta look into that, but it turns out Tilda had a different name than her mother, or not a different name, but she wasn't raised by her mother at first. Some people took her in, and then her mother got her back, I guess. It's what I'm why I'm saying I want to see a timeline for this show, just so that I could visually see all right, from here to there. So it turns out Tilda was a product of abuse from the uncle on Mariah, and the scene where she tells that to Tilda after all the like time she spent trying to like let's go forward, be family first, and this is all like a luring Tilda to the dark side basically. And Tilda was like a doctor. She believed in holistic medicine. She actually gets to meet Bushmaster early on because of because she basically runs an apothecary shop of sorts. So Comanche ends up being a snitch for the cops because he's loyal to Shades and he doesn't see Mariah having a future. So Shades kills Comanche and it breaks him. Like having to kill his best friend, like the closest thing he has to a brother, just breaks him. And Shades is old school criminal, old school mob rules. So when Mariah goes full criminal after Bushmaster has failed to kill her and has completely ruined her reputation, Mariah decides to kill all of Bushmaster's family, and Shades is there, and it just like it does not like he grows a conscience in that moment or right there. I really hope Shades comes back for season 3, just because Theo Rossi is a really good actor, and like I don't know what more they're gonna do with the character, but in terms of like who I'd like to see, like I wouldn't mind seeing him back. So because of the downfall of Mariah brought on by Bushmaster, and like the fact that like Alfre Woodard in this show just has like a complete downward spiral. Like she starts off as like an alcoholic, she stays an alcoholic pretty much, but starts off as a naive alcoholic, and Shades is telling her like don't do this, don't do that, and what if she had listened to Shades, like they would have avoided so many problems. Like the whole thing wouldn't have happened the way it does. But because Comanche is outed as the snitch, Shades kills Comanche, and because in the process of killing Comanche, they also kill a cop. Like the amount of like the blade just gets bigger that's hanging over their heads. Great lighting. So how does this all affect Luke Cage? It's like Luke Cage, in his pursuit of trying to bring peace to Harlem between the Stokes and the Bushmaster, and just trying to protect the people in general and bring down Mariah at the same time, like he gets like a little bit more willing to negotiate. He's willing to compromise a little bit more, and by the end of it, after getting beaten down, after getting put through the ringer, manages to get Mariah, but it's only after Shades confesses to everything. Like Shades ultimately betrays Mariah to clear his conscience, and Mariah, having like twisted Tilda around enough and going full like monster, Tilda's the one that ends up killing Mariah. And before Mariah dies, she does two things. She plants the seed of desire in Tilda for the club, and then she gives Luke Cage the club. So Luke Cage thinks of himself as the sheriff of Harlem. who is the person responsible for the protection of the people. But in order to do that, he negotiates with the gangs and the mob. And he negotiates by saying, stay out of Harlem. You can do business around Harlem, but if you come in, I will come after you. Which is, like, he starts dealing with gangsters by being a gangster. He's negotiating with gangsters. And that's why I'm saying Luke Cage is going to be the bad guy for season 3. Because he's completely set up to fail. In terms of when he has to deal with people, like how he has to deal with people, he's going to have to do things that are different than what he was doing before. Before, he was like protecting people by getting in other people's business, but now he's trying to control crime, and like he's going to be responsible for keeping people out, keeping things going the way they are. And on that end, he's like going to screw up. He's going to. It's a matter of time. He's gonna have that punch the wall moment again, but it's gonna be like having to deal with people that he wouldn't have to deal with. So he went from vigilante to pseudo crime boss by the end of it. And overall, like, this season was pretty damn good. It was just like there was a couple nitpicky things. I mean, like everyone like just saying look forward, not backward. It was like, all right, we get it, we know. Like it doesn't have to be in every episode. Then they left the door open on Bushmaster. Tilda's definitely going to be a like a player in season 3, and one of the best scenes though was there's a character in the whole season where he's selling Luke Cage merch. He's selling videotapes of Luke Cage's fights. And when he realizes that Luke is going to be like dealing with crime as not a crime boss, but like as a boss who deals in crime, like it's a much better written line than what I'm telling you about, but the way that he worded it was perfect. It was like, you can't do business. You can't be in Pops' shop. The guy says like the barber shop is supposed to be Switzerland. It's supposed to be neutral. And Luke gets his shit and gets out. So like that was probably one of my favorite scenes of the last episode. So go watch it, guys. It's a pretty damn good show. So I'm looking forward to Iron Fist season 3, or season 2, I should say, because Iron Fist has a really great episode in this one, and I hope that suggests that they know what the hell they're doing with Iron Fist now, because the more I find out about Iron Fist in season 1, the more I'm tearing my hair out. But seeing in this season Foggy, Misty Knight, Danny Rand for one episode, like Turk it has been in every single season of the Marvel's like Netflix shows. Turk, of all guys. So Turk is the new Phil Coulson, and that is just hilarious to me. So, all right, guys, peace.